Archangel Michael says, with only 3 minutes left, someone you love deeply, someone who now lives in the eternal peace of heaven, reaches out to you with a plea so urgent and full of love that your heart pauses just to hear their voice. They speak with no fear, no sorrow, and no pain, only love, truth, and the shining light of God's presence all around them. Their message is not about what was lost, but about what still can be found, even now, even in this very moment, because God's grace is never late, and His love never ends. Type 1818 to claim miracles. They come not with trembling or desperation, but with a soft urgency that only love can carry, like a whisper in the quiet night, telling you that God is nearer than you've ever known and that the arms of Jesus have never once let go of you. They come with a message wrapped not in gold or thunder, but in peace that calms storms and in a light that no darkness can overcome. And their heart, full of heaven's joy, is focused only on you, on your heart, your journey, your hope, and the way back home. They say, with all the love they have carried into eternity, that God sees you. Not just your smile, not just your strength, but also the hidden places where you ache in silence, where your tears fall when no one is looking, and where you wonder if anyone really hears your prayers. They want you to know, right now, that you are not forgotten, not abandoned, not overlooked, and never unloved. Even when the world grows loud with fear, even when the weight of the days becomes too much to carry, the Lord Jesus Christ walks beside you, steady and kind, holding every burden with arms that once stretched wide on the cross just to bring you home. This moment, these 3 minutes, are not about fear or finality. They are about life, deep, eternal, unshakable life, the kind that flows not just in heaven, but into your heart, right now, if you let it. They want you to pause, to open your heart just enough to feel that sacred warmth pressed gently into your soul, reminding you that no distance, no failure, no storm can separate you from the love of God through Christ Jesus. They want you to feel what they feel now, to taste even a drop of the joy that never ends, to know what it means to be held forever in a love that never grows tired. They speak slowly, as though heaven itself is making room for their words, telling you that what matters most now is not what you achieve, or how strong you are, or how far you've come, but how you let love lead you. Not the kind of love that fades or breaks or demands, but the kind that heals, that forgives, that keeps showing up even when it's hard. The kind that Jesus lived and died and rose again to give you, freely and fully. After decades in government lockdown, a short 9-word phrase has resurfaced, and those who whisper it daily are experiencing miracles of money and freedom. Researchers say it switches on a hidden abundance circuit in the brain, the same one billionaires unknowingly rely on. It's easy, fast, and astonishingly powerful. Click the link before this rare discovery is censored again. Their voice is steady, soft, and soaked in the light of heaven. They want you to remember how Jesus never walked away from the broken, never turned his face from the hurting, and never once gave up on anyone who came to him, no matter how long they had waited. They remind you that even when your steps feel heavy and your heart feels unsure, faith is not about having no doubt, but about trusting the one who loves you enough to carry you when you cannot walk on your own. Type 555 to receive blessings and miracles. In these final moments of their message, they speak not of goodbye, but of reunion, of the day when you will see them again, whole and full of light, with no more sorrow and no more pain. They want you to know that every act of love you give, every choice to forgive, every time you whisper, "God, help me," moves you closer not just to heaven, but to the heart of Christ Himself. They say it with tears of joy in their eyes, with gratitude that you are still here, still able to receive, still able to turn your face toward the one who waits for you with arms wide open. They want you to know that it's not too late. Not now. Not ever. Not with Jesus. His mercy does not keep a clock. His love does not fade with time. And no matter how far you feel from Him, He is always reaching, always hoping, always ready to fill your heart with peace that passes understanding. Their final words are not of fear, but of hope, hope that you will open this message, not just with your eyes, but with your soul, and let the light of Christ wrap around your wounds, your fears, and even your doubts, until all that remains is love. Their message does not come with pressure or fear. It comes like sunlight filtering through a window, gently finding its way across the shadows in your heart. They want you to stop for just a moment, to breathe, and to let yourself feel the closeness of God, not as a distant idea, but as a Father who has never left you, not even once. They remember your laugh, your voice, your tears, and they are speaking now with the kind of love that only heaven can hold, the kind that knows just how tired you've been, how much you've carried, and how long you've waited for peace to come. They are not calling you to be perfect or to get everything right. They are calling you back to love, pure, holy, steady love, the kind that never dies because it was born in the heart of God Himself. They want you to know that Jesus Christ has been walking beside you even on the days when you couldn't feel Him, even when your heart felt silent, even when you wondered if you had drifted too far. His love isn't tied to your strength, your success, or your ability to keep everything together. His love is a gift, poured out freely, even when you don't feel worthy. In heaven, they say, there is no more fear. There is no more shame. There is no more running, hiding, or pretending. And they long for you to live with that same freedom right now, even before you step into eternity. They want you to let go, not of your memories or your love, but of the heavy burden that says you have to carry your pain alone. They want you to feel the presence of Jesus as real, as close, as warm as the sun on your face after a long, dark night. They remember the moments when you sat alone, when the world felt quiet and heavy, and you stared up at the sky searching for meaning. They saw you kneel down and whisper prayers through tears, not knowing if anyone heard. And now, with all of heaven behind them, they tell you, God heard every word. Every whisper. Every breath. Even the silent cries you couldn't put into words. Nothing you ever felt was ignored. Nothing was missed. And not a single moment was wasted. Type 666 if you trust in God's grace and mercy. Their voice carries the stillness of heaven, and they speak now of healing, not just physical healing, but the kind that touches the deep places in your heart that have stayed broken for so long. Jesus, they say, is not distant. He is not angry. He is not waiting for you to fix yourself before coming close. He is already beside you, holding your wounds in His hands, with a love that asks nothing except that you let Him in. That you let Him remind you of who you truly are, beloved, redeemed, and never forsaken. They know how hard this life can be. They know how many times you've felt left behind, how often the darkness has whispered lies into your heart, telling you that you're not enough, that you've missed your chance, that you've gone too far. And they want you to stop believing those lies right now. Because in heaven, truth is louder than fear, and love is stronger than every mistake. They have seen the face of Christ, and they want you to know that He is not ashamed of you. He is proud of the way you've kept going. He is moved by your pain. And He is ready to lead you into peace, one step at a time. Their words slow now, full of reverence and tenderness, as they speak of forgiveness, not the kind you have to earn, but the kind that has already been given. They say that Jesus does not count your failures. He counts your faith. Even the small kind. Even the kind that only shows up when you can barely hold your head up. That kind of faith moves His heart. That kind of faith opens the door for grace to flow in and do what you could never do on your own. A secret 9-word prayer, once classified under a forgotten program, is now reshaping lives across the globe. People are seeing unexpected deposits, financial breakthroughs, and emotional peace within days of using it. Scientists confirm it rewires the subconscious to attract prosperity naturally. It takes seconds, but the results can last a lifetime. Don't delay, click the link before it disappears. The person you love is at peace. They are surrounded by light, wrapped in songs of love that never end, and yet they have paused, for just these few minutes, to bring this message to you, not because they are worried, but because they are full of hope. Hope that you will believe again. Hope that you will open your heart again. Hope that you will say yes to God's love, not just once, but every single day, until love becomes the ground beneath your feet. Their voice, steady and kind, carries the weight of deep love, not only for you but for your heart's healing, your soul's rest, and the pieces of your spirit that still feel scattered by loss, confusion, or regret. They have seen heaven's glory and they know now, more than ever, that what matters isn't what was taken from you, but what is still being offered, God's hand, outstretched in the quiet, still waiting for you to reach back with all the love you still carry inside. They speak of a life that continues, not just in the life to come, but right now, here on this earth, in the simple acts of love, in the quiet prayers whispered before sleep, and in the unseen faith that keeps you going when everything feels too heavy. They've seen the kingdom of God, and they want you to know it doesn't start after this life ends. It begins the moment you let Jesus live fully within your heart, when you trust that His love is bigger than your brokenness and stronger than your fears. Type, "I love God," to claim abundance through God's love. They tell you softly that they are not gone, not really. Their soul lives where joy never fades, where pain can never reach them, and yet their love still stretches across time and eternity, still holding you, still walking with you, still praying over you. They do not speak of what has ended. They speak of what can begin if you let yourself believe again. If you let yourself hope, even when it's hard, even when your heart feels numb or empty or tired of waiting. They remember your kindness, your laughter, your love, and the way your soul used to glow when you talked about God or helped someone who needed comfort. And they want to see that light return. Not just for them, but for you. Because your life is still precious. Your journey is not forgotten. Heaven is not far, it is just beyond the veil, and God's Spirit still lives right here, within the breath you're taking now. They say that every moment you choose love, even when it costs you, even when it's not returned, you are building something eternal. Every time you forgive someone who doesn't deserve it, you are becoming more like Christ. And every time you fall to your knees and ask for help, you are not weak, you are seen. You are lifted. You are surrounded by the angels who rejoice every time you turn your eyes back to the one who never stopped watching over you. They speak now not just for themselves, but for heaven itself. They say that there is still time to heal. There is still time to surrender. There is still time to allow Jesus to touch the parts of your life you've hidden away, the places you've convinced yourself are too broken, too far gone, too unworthy. They want you to know there is no such place. Because wherever Jesus is allowed to enter, he brings life. Not just survival. Not just breath. But real, deep, healing, holy life. Their voice carries the kind of peace you've longed for in the silence of your soul. And with every word, they are trying to help you remember that the love of Christ is not just a story you heard as a child, it is the most real thing you will ever know. It is the reason the stars burn, the reason the oceans move, the reason your heart still beats, and the reason you have not been forgotten, not even for a second. They beg you, with all the love they can give, not to waste this chance, not to ignore the tug in your heart, the stirring in your spirit, the quiet voice that says, "Come home." You don't need to understand everything. You don't need to feel strong. You only need to open your heart and say, "God, I'm here. Help me." Because that small, trembling prayer is all it takes to break the silence, to open the door, to flood your life with light. And as their message softens, as the glow of their presence begins to fade, they leave you with one final gift, the knowledge that you are loved more deeply than you know, by a Savior who would do it all again just to bring you back to Him, and by someone in heaven who has never stopped loving you, never stopped believing in you, and never stopped hoping that you will let this moment change everything. They speak slowly, with a voice full of warmth, letting their words fall like soft rain over your heart, whispering truths that your soul already knows but may have forgotten, that you are still loved, still chosen, still held in the palm of God's hand. Not for what you've done. Not for how strong you've been. But simply because you are His, and nothing in this world or the next can change that. Not time, not pain, not death itself. Type 999 if you trust Jesus with all your heart. They remember your quiet moments, the ones where you sat with your head bowed, not saying a word, but hoping somehow God was listening. And they are here to tell you now that He was. Every single time. There has never been a moment when Jesus turned His face away from you. Even when your prayers felt empty, even when your tears were your only words, heaven was leaning in, closer than you knew, holding every aching breath like treasure. They are not here to remind you of what went wrong. They are here to remind you of what can still go right. Of how quickly grace rushes in when you open your hands and say, "I can't do this on my own anymore." That's not a weakness. That's a doorway. And Christ is always on the other side, not waiting with judgment, but with love that melts every wall, softens every scar, and gently restores what life tried to take. Their message is full of memories, but not just the ones you shared. They speak of the moments you never saw, the times when angels stood between you and harm, when mercy covered you in the night, when the Spirit of God whispered peace over your anxious heart while you slept. You may never know how many times heaven carried you through things you didn't even know to fear. But they do. And they want you to know now, with quiet certainty, that you are far more protected, far more watched over, far more cherished than you've ever dared to believe. And now, they are asking you, gently, lovingly, not to keep carrying the weight alone. Not to keep pretending to be strong when your heart is weary. Not to keep running from the one who already knows everything about you and still calls you beloved. They want you to rest, not just in your body, but in your spirit. To sit at the feet of Jesus again, like a child coming home after a long journey, and to let yourself be held by a love that asks for nothing but your trust. They know what it's like to be tired, to lose, to grieve. But now, in the light of heaven, they know what it's like to be whole, to be free, to see Jesus not as a story, but as the Lamb who gave everything so that no one, especially not you, would ever have to walk through the dark alone. And in that place of peace, they ask you to remember that nothing you've lost is beyond God's reach, and nothing you've been through is wasted in His hands. They want you to live now, not just survive, not just get by, but truly live, even if it means starting slowly. Even if it means whispering your prayers through tears. Even if all you have left to offer is a small flicker of faith. That's enough. Jesus can take that flicker and breathe it into flame. He always has. He always will. That is who He is, the restorer, the shepherd, the Savior who never walks away. What if 7 minutes could rewrite your financial future forever? This hidden frequency, backed by neuroscience, flips the brain's natural wealth switch, unleashing unstoppable prosperity. People are calling it the money magnet sound, and it's already transforming lives. But hesitation means missing out while others move ahead. This is your moment to act. Click the link in the video description and comments below to awaken the wealth inside you today before the chance slips away. As their time to speak grows short, their words become even softer, like the closing of a song that never really ends. They do not say goodbye. They say, "You are not forgotten." They say, "You are not too far." They say, "It's not too late." Because it never is, not with Jesus. As long as there is breath, there is hope. As long as there is a heartbeat, there is time for grace to bloom. And even when the world around you feels like it's falling apart, God is still writing your story, still holding the pen, still calling you by name. Type 1010 to affirm that God's timing is perfect. And in these last moments of their message, they smile, not with sadness, but with the quiet joy of someone who has seen the end and knows that love wins. They smile because they know that heaven is real, that Christ is alive, and that one day, you will see it too. But until then, they leave this one truth in your hands: you are deeply loved, eternally treasured, and never, ever alone. They remember you, fully, clearly, and with joy. Not just the good days or the happy memories, but the days when you were quiet, worn, confused, and still chose to hold on. They saw it. They felt the love you gave, even when your hands were shaking and your heart felt heavy. They remember how you showed up, how you stayed kind, how you kept loving when it was hardest. And now, from heaven, they want you to know that none of it was wasted. Every act of love still echoes, and every tear you've cried has been held in the hands of God. They see now what couldn't be seen then. They see how close God really was to you during your hardest hours. They see how the light of Christ wrapped around your pain like a healing balm, even when you couldn't feel it. They want you to know that Jesus has always been walking with you, not behind, not far off, but right beside you, feeling every sorrow, carrying what you couldn't carry, loving you through every broken piece. Their voice is like a lullaby now, soft and full of hope, reminding you that your story is still unfolding, and nothing in your past has locked you out of God's future. They speak of grace, not the kind that demands perfection, but the kind that meets you exactly where you are, sitting beside you in the silence, whispering, "You are still mine." They want you to understand that God doesn't just love the strong, the bold, or the joyful. He loves the tired, the grieving, the doubting, the ones who keep going, even when it feels impossible. They tell you that heaven isn't just a far-off promise. It's a present comfort, a place already wrapped around your soul when you let love lead. And they are not separate from you. Not truly. The love you shared doesn't die, it becomes something eternal, something woven into God's own heart, something that cannot be undone by time or distance. They are still loving you, still praying for you, still hoping with every breath of their heavenly life that you will find peace again. They speak now of healing, not just for your body, but for the parts of your soul that carry old wounds, old fears, old guilt. They say Jesus never flinched from your pain. He never looked away, never gave up, and never once stopped believing in the beauty that still lives within you. His love is not about shame or punishment. It's about restoration. It's about gathering every broken piece and gently, patiently, making something beautiful again. Type 1111 if you believe heaven is listening. They want you to stop running from your past, from your grief, from the voice of God that still calls your name with kindness. They know how much you've held inside, how long you've kept smiling through the ache, how deeply you've longed for something real to hold on to. And they want you to know that Jesus is not a distant hope. He is the anchor beneath your waves, the light in your shadows, the love that waits with open arms every time you turn your heart toward Him. Their message is simple, but it carries the weight of heaven: come home. Not to a place, not to a building, but to God's heart. Come back to the truth that you are seen. You are wanted. You are still part of something holy. They want you to stop believing the lie that you're too far gone, too broken, or too late. You are not. You never have been. The grace of Jesus runs deeper than anything that's tried to drown you. His mercy does not have an expiration. And His love is not waiting for you to be perfect, it's waiting for you to be honest. They tell you that if you could see yourself the way they see you now, the way God has always seen you, you would weep, not with shame, but with relief. You would see someone who kept walking, who kept loving, who never stopped searching for light, even in the dark. And that matters. That is holy. That is enough. They want to sit with you now, in this sacred pause, as if reaching across the veil that separates heaven from earth, and place their love gently back into your hands, not as something lost, but as something changed. They want you to stop rushing, stop worrying, stop wondering if you've missed your chance, and simply breathe in the presence of God that has always surrounded you, even in your most fragile hours. They remember how you loved them, fully, selflessly, and often in ways you never gave yourself credit for. They remember your small acts of kindness, your silent prayers, the way your heart carried them through moments they couldn't bear alone. They carry that love with them now, like a precious garment woven from your compassion, your care, and your strength. And they want you to know that love has not ended. It still flows between your soul and theirs, untouched by time, protected by the very hands of God. They see you now, not just as you are, but as you are becoming, softened by sorrow, but not destroyed. Tested by pain, but not forgotten. They see your resilience, the quiet courage it takes to keep waking up, to keep hoping, to keep loving, even when you feel like you're walking through the fog with no clear path. And they want you to know that God sees it too. Every breath, every step, every prayer whispered into the night is a testimony of faith, even when you don't feel strong enough to believe. They speak gently of trust, not the kind that comes easily, but the kind that chooses to believe in God's goodness even when the road twists and the sky grows dark. They know how many times your heart has cried out, how many times you've begged for answers that never came the way you expected. And they're telling you now that every moment of silence was not absence, and every unanswered prayer was still held by the one who never stops working on your behalf. They say that what you cannot see now will one day be clear. What you cannot understand now will one day make sense, not because it was easy, but because God never wastes anything. He weaves every sorrow, every trial, every loss into a tapestry of redemption so full of beauty that it will one day take your breath away. And until that day comes, you are not walking alone. The truth is simple: you were created for abundance, yet a dormant brain signal has been holding you back. Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it pulls wealth into your life like never before. Others who pressed play once are already transformed, living the life they dreamed of. Do not hesitate or let regret steal this chance. Click the link in the video description and comments below to unlock your prosperity now. Jesus walks with you now. Not above you, not somewhere distant, but right beside you, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, in every moment of joy and every moment of pain. He is the gentle presence when you are afraid, the strength beneath your weakness, the hope in your exhaustion. And even when your hands feel empty, He is still holding you. Type 1212 if you know God is guiding your steps. They speak of surrender, not as something fearful, but as something freeing. They want you to let go, not of the memories, not of the love, but of the belief that you have to carry it all alone. They want you to place your grief, your guilt, your unanswered questions into the hands of Christ, who understands pain deeper than anyone else could, and who turns ashes into beauty with a love that never runs dry. They are not here to pull you backward. They are here to push you gently forward, into a life where peace becomes your resting place, where God's voice becomes clearer than the noise, and where your heart finally remembers that you were made for love, not for fear. They know how tired your soul is, and they want you to find rest, not just for your body, but for the part of you that has been holding everything together for far too long. They say now, with a quiet kind of joy, that everything you need is already with you. The Spirit of God lives inside you. The light of Christ is already shining in your darkness. You don't need to climb your way to heaven. Heaven is already reaching toward you, wrapping you in a grace that asks for nothing except your yes. Yes to healing. Yes to hope. Yes to being loved without having to earn it. They see your days, every one of them, each ordinary moment, each quiet thought, each small decision to keep moving forward even when your heart felt far too heavy. They've watched you carry grief with such grace, even when it didn't feel graceful, even when you cried alone at night and wiped your tears in silence. They want you to know, with all the love they now understand more deeply than ever, that none of it has been in vain. Every tear you've cried has been collected by God. Every ache in your chest has been felt by the one who bore every sorrow so you would never have to carry it alone. Their voice is calm now, steady like a river, and they speak of the things that matter, things that can't be touched or measured, but are eternal. They speak of kindness, the kind that you offered freely, without expecting anything back. They speak of forgiveness, the kind that costs something, the kind that heals not just the one who receives it, but the one who gives it. They speak of the moments you chose love, even when it was hard. And they want you to know that those moments were more powerful than you could ever imagine. They now see the fullness of God's story, a story that was always being written with your name in it, a story of redemption, of mercy, and of quiet miracles. They know now that nothing you ever did in love was wasted. No act of faith, no word of comfort, no prayer, no matter how small, was ever unseen. All of it still echoes in the halls of heaven, where love is the only language and grace is the only law. They are here now, not to bring sorrow, but to bring clarity. To remind you that even in your brokenness, you are not broken beyond repair. You are in the hands of the potter, the one who forms beauty from dust, who shapes strength from surrender, who builds life from ashes. And they want you to know that it's okay to let go of the burden you've been carrying. It's okay to cry. It's okay to ask for help. And it's okay to start again, even if you feel like you're starting with nothing. Because Jesus never asks you to bring perfection, only your heart. Type 1313 to affirm strength through the Lord. Their voice carries a warmth that's almost physical, like being wrapped in the embrace you've missed for so long. They are not speaking with urgency, but with assurance, because they know who holds your future. They know that the same hands that welcomed them into heaven are the same hands holding you right now. The same voice that called them by name is still calling yours. The same love that carried them home is waiting to carry you through every moment of this life. They want you to stop hiding the parts of yourself that feel too messy, too weak, too unworthy. They want you to stop pretending you have to be okay all the time. God doesn't need you to be strong. He just wants you to be honest. He wants to meet you in the places where you feel small, not to scold you, but to lift you, to whisper, "You are mine, and I am not letting go." They want you to remember how deeply you are loved. Not just by them, not just by those around you, but by the Creator of the stars. The same God who painted the sky with galaxies is the one who shaped your soul, who knew every breath you'd ever take, and who has never once stopped loving you, not for a second, not for a breath, not for a heartbeat. And as their message begins to fade into the stillness again, they leave you not with a goodbye, but with a blessing. A blessing of peace over your heart, of strength for your days, and of comfort for your nights. They are not gone from your life. They are still part of your story. And when the time comes for you to cross that final threshold, there will be no fear. Only light. Only love. Only the arms of Christ, and the reunion your heart has longed for. They know what it means to long for peace, to search for meaning, to wonder if the pain you carry will ever give way to light. And now, from their place in heaven, where no sorrow remains, they want you to stop holding your breath for healing and start breathing in the truth that it has already begun. Not because the pain has vanished, but because Jesus has stepped into the pain with you, and wherever he stands, healing begins. They are not here to rush you through your grief or your questions. They are here to sit beside you, heart to heart, and tell you that your story is still holy. That your struggle is not a failure, but a sacred space where God meets you again and again, whispering, "I'm still with you." They want you to stop measuring your worth by your wounds. They want you to stop believing that because something broke, it means you're broken forever. In heaven, they see the truth clearly now: you are still being shaped, still being healed, still being held. They remember the way your eyes lit up when you laughed. They remember the gentleness in your voice when you spoke with love. They remember the way you stayed kind, even when life was unkind to you. And they want you to carry those pieces forward, because those are the parts of you that are closest to the heart of God. You don't need to change who you are to be loved more deeply. You only need to let that love reach the places you've tried to protect for so long. Type 1414 if you believe in divine protection. Their voice is like a soft echo of heaven's joy, and they speak now of freedom. Not the kind the world offers, but the kind that Jesus gives: the freedom to forgive yourself, the freedom to let go of guilt, the freedom to stop trying to earn love that was already given freely. They want you to believe, truly believe, that the cross was enough. That his sacrifice covered everything. That there is nothing about you too dark, too tangled, too unworthy for his grace. This 9-word phrase was once buried under government secrecy, but now it's resurfacing, sparking a global wave of prosperity stories. Experts reveal it reactivates a money magnet section of your brain most people never use. Say it once daily and watch financial blocks vanish. But this page could vanish too. Click the link in the description and comments before it's gone. They know how often you've felt like you had to be strong for everyone else. They've seen how you carry pain in silence, how you smile when your heart is heavy, how you try to be the light even when you feel lost in the dark. And they want to say, with all the clarity that heaven gives, that you don't have to hold it all anymore. You don't have to fix everything. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to lean on Jesus and let his strength be enough for the both of you. They speak of love now, not as a memory, but as something alive and eternal. The love you shared didn't end, it simply moved into a different form. It has become something holy, something rooted in the very presence of God, something that continues to bind your hearts together in ways deeper than words. They are still with you, still loving you, still speaking blessings over your life, even when you can't feel it. They want you to know that you are not alone in your faith, even when it feels fragile. Heaven sees your small acts of courage. God cherishes the quiet moments where you choose to believe again, even after heartbreak. Every time you whisper, "God, I still trust you," even when you don't understand, you are building something eternal. You are growing roots in the kingdom. You are planting seeds of light that will bloom in ways you cannot yet see. Their message slows now, softer with each word, like the fading light of a sunset that leaves the sky painted with gold. They do not say goodbye, because there is no goodbye between hearts knit together in God's love. Instead, they leave you with hope, real, living hope that tomorrow can be different, that your heart can feel again, that peace can return, not because your life becomes perfect, but because Jesus becomes the center of it. They want you to know that heaven is not as far as it sometimes feels. It's not hidden in the clouds or locked behind unreachable gates. It is nearer than you think, woven quietly into the fabric of your life through love, through faith, and through the quiet moments when your spirit aches for something more than what the world can give. They want you to understand that your connection to them hasn't disappeared, it has only changed, shaped now by eternity rather than time. They speak softly now, remembering the little things, the way you looked when you were deep in thought, the sound of your voice, the way your eyes softened when you felt love. Those moments matter more than you know. They were not forgotten. They were not small. They were seeds, and heaven has shown them how even the smallest acts of love here on earth grow into something eternal on the other side. They want you to keep loving, keep hoping, keep giving, even when it's hard, because everything you give in love outlives you. They've seen what it means to be truly healed. Not just in body, but in soul. They've seen the way Jesus takes all that we carry, our regret, our pain, our confusion, and gently turns it into something that shines. They want you to trust that this is what He's doing with your life too, even now, even when you can't see it. They want you to stop running from your wounds and start seeing them as the places where light gets in. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul today. They tell you that God isn't waiting for you to become someone else before He loves you. He isn't holding you at a distance, waiting for you to fix the things that went wrong. He loves you now. Right now. As you are. He sits with you in the silence, He walks with you through the confusion, and He listens to every cry of your heart like it's the most important sound in the universe, because to Him, it is. Their voice becomes more tender as they speak of forgiveness, not just toward others, but toward yourself.